Fantastic. So another thing that the courts, of course, did mention, and that particularly had to do with the Obi and Labour Party appeal, was the issue of double nomination. And now, again, it seems that that's been put to rest. They also said that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has dealt with that as well. So we're moving forward from that now. But just very clearly, what are we moving forward into when it comes to issues surrounding double nomination?
The Supreme Court has laid that to rest, and I don't think there's any issue. You know, I for one, I also feel that right now people are really emotional about so many things, but the law is the law, right? And the Supreme Court is final. The judgment of the court is clear. I'm a lawyer. I will not want to go into any emotional aspect of that particular, because I listened to Kenneth Okoro speaking, and it's quite understandable because he belongs to Labour Party, and then of course you can definitely not agree with the judgment, but the Supreme Court ruling judgment is also law. And I know there have been also arguments as regards if the court can make laws, and technically the court can make laws because whatever pronouncements that the courts make is the law, and that is the position as regards what the Supreme Court has stated on double nomination.
Okay, so Henry, my question really is just in terms of this issue of double nomination, it has to be dealt with before we have elections. Just to say there's a clarity around it for many people now. It has to be dealt with before an election happens, and it must be dealt with for those involved in the election at the party side. That's just the kind of clarity I want on this particular issue.
And so right now, it means that we have to go back to the drawing board and improve our electoral laws, right? Because before now, the issue as to regards pre-election matters is usually in the purview of party members right now. So for what it is worth now, and the position it means is that any opposition party will have to also monitor any pre-election issues going on in any party. And it means that that particular party or interested party must file that matter before the elections. Right. So now it's a bit technical and dicey in the sense that aside from me as a political party A monitoring my own, primaries in my own political party, I have to also monitor political party B in their conduct of
All right, so we'll have to see if we can get Henry Barnabas back, but also touch base with our correspondent Marvelous Obomanu in the grounds of the Supreme Court, as the court has made a final decision on the election, on the presidential election in Nigeria that was held in March 2023. Uzona, we've seen issues laid to rest now, double nomination, the Abuja 25% situation also being laid to rest. Also, seemingly a declaration on this conversation around foreign depositions and the potential for them to be entered into evidence here in Nigeria, and even when evidence can be, of course, sought to be added to any particular trial. For many people, there are not any particular surprises with this particular case, but we know that it's not just about legality. There's sentiment and emotion involved as well.
Yeah, quite a lot involved in this. And most of the people that will be speaking on the streets and and arguing on the social media will be coming from the angle of emotion and not legality, because sometimes issue of the law is beyond the comprehension of everyone. Not talking down on anyone, but it's a specialized field where specialized people who understand it, have the ability to comprehend completely. And so many of us will be speaking based on what we feel. For instance, still referring to Kenneth Okonkwo, who was speaking moments ago and saying that he didn't hear the Supreme Court justices mention the issue of narcotics. And when the justices looked through the issue of presenting fresh evidence and trashed it, those are part of the evidence that the Supreme Court said, you can't bring it here. You should have dealt with it earlier. And so those are the things that we're likely going to be seeing. But fantastic, again, he conceded that the matter had been laid to rest. Yes, he's not happy, but he cannot, the judgment is binding on anyone. And so that should be the message for every Nigerian the judgment of the Supreme Court is binding on anyone, let's go, and those that are interested in vying for offices or want to push thoughts about who becomes the president of Nigeria, go and start preparing for the next presidential election. As far as the 2023 presidential election is done and dusted, and what the Supreme Court said is that Bola Tinubu remains the legitimate president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many other issues, legal issues, we will continue to treat as the days go by, and in many of our programs and broadcasts, we'll continue to itemize them one after the other. But for me, one of the things that will remain outstanding in all of this is the pronouncement on the Federal Capital Territory, because that appeared to be a bit dicey because of the word "and" that is in the Constitution. Maybe there may be need for the National Assembly to take a look at that particular provision of the Constitution again, not to change it, but perhaps to modify and rewrite it in such a manner that no one would ever again rise to say that the word "and" means that you must have 25% in the FCT before you are declared the president of Nigeria. These are the things that, for me, one of the items that is going to be taken away from the judgment of today. Many other pronouncements, but also it's important to remember that you cannot import evidence through the back door. This is my choice of words now, through the back door at the point of appeal, because the justices of the Supreme Court said that an appeal is a continuation of trial. So whatever you want to make use of in the process of your trial, make it available at the point of, at the lower court, and the only way you can only bring in fresh evidence will be through an application, which will still have to meet certain criteria before it's admitted by the apex court or any superior court. So quite a lot taking away from this, and the conversation will definitely have to continue.
All right, and the conversations will continue. You can expect more on the Supreme Court making the decision going in favor of President Tinubu to retain his leadership position as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And we know that we heard from several of the justices, not a dissenting opinion in sight, not a dissenting vote in sight, and it was all definitely all across the board. So lack of merits for the Atiku Obi appeals that were trying to seat the president, issues around the foreign dispositions being able to be used in Nigeria, Abuja and the 25% conundrum, and also, of course, conversations going back to the double nomination situation. But this has been the final verdict coming from the Supreme Court. And with the title of Supreme, there's nowhere else to go right here on earth. Legally, we'll be breaking these things apart, as many people are also waiting for the justices to release their opinions and looking at what this will mean in terms of case law as well as precedents that has been set today. We'll be wrapping things up on the verdict now. Don't forget to join us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Let us know your reactions to the verdict today and join our conversations. We have them coming up on Village Square Africa at 2 p.m. West African time. The news will also give you all the latest on this conversation, and we have much more coming your way later today that will break this down. Politics HQ, of course, at 7 p.m. will also look further and deeper into the verdicts provided by today's Supreme Court judgment. I'm Tolulakwe Adile Ribalogun. Do have a fantastic day, but stay here with us right here on News Central.